the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018.
For the first hit. Rutschman into right field. Down the line. A fair ball. Adley will turn first. Head for second. He's going to turn second. Go for third. Rutschman into third base standing. An extra base hit. His first hit in the major leagues. Welcome to the...
Those are long pitch innings. I think Blister, that's what you want to make sure.
Here's a high fly ball into right. Back his bat's on the move. On the track. He's got it. What a catch by Mookie Betts.
Now, Clifford looking for a clean inning here in the seventh. Hit well out to right center field. Jones still on the move, running out of room, and he made it!
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Ballpark. As always, I'm your host, Patrick Moran. I know we haven't really been doing a whole lot of episodes recently, but we should be on track sooner or later. I don't know when that will be, but we'll try and get as many done this summer as possible. No Brendan today, sadly. I don't know where he is, but hopefully we can get rolling soon because we do owe you guys some episodes. But for today, I'm going to be doing some power rankings. I have my teams listed, all 30 to 1, and you know how everyone's performed this season. We haven't really touched on that on this podcast, and I think it is owed to you guys to just see where the league stands and to see where players are and teams are and how they're doing right now. So this is for me. I kind of mixed in how they're playing recently and how they've been playing on a whole and stuff that's going to help them and hurt them. So I'll give you the full breakdown on this podcast. And I think without further ado, let's get into it. So I'll go from 30 to 1. I'll work from the bottom to the top. At number 30, I have the Oakland A's. I mean, the Oakland A's have just been terrible and, awful. They're 12 and 47. I don't really know what can be said about this team. 203 winning percentage, and there's really just nothing going for them. They're going to be headed out to Vegas. You're going to see them move out there and become the Vegas A's, and it's just not a good time to be an Oakland A's fan. I'm sorry that this has to happen to you, but it has. It's just been horrible. They're a bad team. They don't really have a great roster, and just not a lot of very proven and competent Major League players. I will say the one guy I would like to highlight, or maybe two, Esteury Ruiz. Esteury Ruiz has been pretty awesome for them and just stealing bags like crazy. The dude could steal like 50-ish bags, I think, this year. And Brent Rooker, who's broken out this year, a late bloomer. But other than that, this team is really just not fun to watch. It's an eyesore right now. This team is a problem, and there's no reason to turn on an Oakland A's game because they're just putrid. This team's awful. This team's bad, and I hate to slander and be negative here, but it's true. This team is just not good. This team is relocating. Everything that could be going wrong is happening. Everything that could be bad is bad right now. So that's kind of all you need to know about the Oakland A's right now. 29th, I'm going to go the Kansas City Royals. This team has also not been good at all. They have, I believe they're the only other team with a winning percentage under 300. This team is bad. This team is very, very bad across the board. They're not scoring a lot of runs. They're not getting a lot of other pitchers. They have some fun little players like Nick Pratto and V. Pasquantino holding down some DH and first base time. Bobby Witt Jr. is a young star of the game. I know he hasn't necessarily been playing well, but he's still a great player and still a great athlete. But outside of that, there's really just, again, it's just kind of flat. They're just kind of a better version of the A's at this point, and nothing's really going right for them. And they're in the worst division possibly I've ever seen in the AL Central, but they are the worst team in that division. And yeah, it's just, again, not fun to be a Kansas City Royals fan right now. For 28, I'm going to go with possibly the biggest disappointment of the entire season. I'm going to go with the Chicago White Sox. Now, I still think there is a chance where they can maybe elevate their game a little bit, but I don't really think they could do that anymore. I mean, front office is whack, and everything that's going on with the White Sox is just not really under control right now. I mean, the players aren't really showing any, enthusiasm in their play, and it's kind of showing. I mean, this team has just been lackluster. Dylan Cease hasn't been that Cy Young candidate that he was last year. Players are just kind of doing okay, and again, like, you can kind of tell that there are bad vibes in Chicago right now. There's Andrew Benintendi, who's hitting for an okay average, but no power whatsoever. And this team is just disappointing. It's been painful to watch the White Sox. I remember watching them play the Orioles in a weekend series. It was not good. This team is not very good. They've had a lot of injuries. That's what kind of held them back earlier in the year. With all the bullpen injuries and kind of filling out the pen, and it was tough for them, I think, for sure. And I would also like to shout out Liam Hendricks. A massive congratulations to you. I put it on my Facebook page, and follow me on Facebook for Beyond the Ballpark updates. But huge shout out to him coming back from cancer. That is a massive battle to fight in life, and he won. So that's sincere congratulations for me. I can put the clip on Facebook, and as well as follow us on Twitter. So that's another place you can find us. But anyway, this White Sox team outside of that has really just not been good, and it's just bad vibes right now. 27th, I'm going to go with the Colorado Rockies, another team that just hasn't really been that good. I know they got the Coors effect, and their hitters definitely have some advantages there, but again, they're just not a very good team, and just not fun at all whatsoever. They're bad. They're a bad team. This is the part where it's a bad. This is the bad part of teams right here on my list. And pitchers are always gonna have a harder time out there because of the Coors effect and the altitude of the stadium. It's just tough. Rockies. It doesn't feel like they're ever gonna be good because no one really cares enough to get them in a good spot. I guess Chris Bryant's been good this year on a whole, but the team has just not been good, and the Rockies are just not a good team. That's all there is to say. They're not good. They're incompetent. 26, I'm going to go with the Washington Nationals. I think the Washington Nationals have been a bit more decent than I think people thought they were going to be, but they're still not very good. I think they have some decent pieces on the team. They have a guy like Kyber Ruiz who's going to be able to stick back there catcher for a little while because they gave him an 8-year extension. You got C.J. Abrams, another bright young star for them. Mackenzie Gore and Josiah Gray has been a great 1-2 punch. I can say that myself. I live in D.C. even though I'm an Orioles fan, and I've kind of been into it with the Nationals. Those guys have been really good for this Nationals team, and as well as Cade Cavalli. I know he got Tommy John, I believe, but he's going to be back sooner or later for this team once he recovers, and he's a really good pitching prospect as well. So that should be a great 1-3 right there for the Nationals. I think they've been fine. I think they've been okay. I've been impressed with Lane Thomas for them this year as well. Got to keep an eye out for. But, overall the team has just not performed that well, and that's why they're coming in here at 26. 25, I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs. I think people thought the Chicago Cubs were going to be better at this point in the season, and they just really haven't been that. They've been lackluster. I mean, they've been on the level of the Nationals, I would say, and that's not a very good thing. So, I think people thought higher of the Cubs than they're playing. I love Trey Mancini, and I will always have that gratitude towards him, and I hope he's doing well in Chicago and enjoying the city. He's playing fine. I mean, kind of keeping a tab on him. But and Dansby Swanson's been decent. Christopher Morel's been on fire ever since getting recalled from AAA, and Nico Horner are good at second as well. But outside of that, there really hasn't been much going for this team. Marcus Stroman's been dominant on the mound, but we all figure that trade deadline he's going to be a piece that teams are going after, and I hope my Orioles go after him because we need starting pitching. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, the Cubs are just not very good. I mean, even the Reds are better than them right now at the time of this recording. So that says a lot. So I thought the Cubs were going to be third. I didn't expect them to be fourth, but I think people thought that they were going to be maybe a wild card team. I wasn't that high. I thought they were just kind of going to be middle of the pack in this division, but they're clearly not, and they just haven't been playing very good baseball recently. Next up, I just mentioned them, Cincinnati Reds. Again, they kind of like the Nationals. The Cincinnati Reds have been a little bit better for me. I thought that they were going to be really scraping the bottom of the barrel, and they haven't been. I mean, the team, they're still not great, and that can't be denied. But this team is just whatever. It's just like, who cares? I mean, you have Hunter Green, you have Nick Lodolo. Those guys have had their lumps in their careers up to this point, but you know that those two are going to be moving forward for this team in terms of being the 1-2 punch of the future, and I can't think of any other guys to highlight at this point. I guess Brandon Williamson, he's had some success at the big league level for them. Let me just check in. They've had some guys performing okay, and I think they've had some nice little surprises. Tyler Stevenson is going to be a really good catcher of the future. Matt McLean's performing really well up to this point as a former first rounder. But outside of that, I mean, I really don't think there's a lot to get excited about. Ian Gabaw, I think, has been solid this year as well. So maybe a guy to keep an eye out for. And if you're listening to this as a fantasy manager, you might want to take a tab. But it's just like, who cares? Reds are just not very good, and they're not very exciting. Number 23, the Phillies. For me, entering the year, I knew the Phillies weren't. The Phillies are very top heavy, I think, and not a lot of depth behind them. And at that point, once a guy gets hurt, it's like, what do you do in Philly? And I'm sorry that they're down here. Former. And they're the reigning NL champs, but they just haven't been good. I suspected this personally. I wasn't as high on the Phillies. I think people maybe had the Phillies going in the second or the top half of the NL East. I wasn't really one of those people. I thought they would have been like third, and once they get to the playoffs, that team can be scary, and I think that's what kind of helped them. Like, they have a roster built for the playoffs. And that's what really benefited them last year when they made it, kind of barely. But right now, they're just not playing good baseball. They're going to have to pick it up if they want to get any better. Rhys Hoskins got hurt. Didn't help them. Trey Turner's not been playing to his full potential. And he's been acknowledging that, which is a good thing. And, could help him get a little bit better. But still has not been that guy at shortstop. Bryson Stott's a nice piece at second base. And they've just been trying to kind of fill the void of Rhys Hoskins at first, however they can. I know that Cody Clemens has been getting some playing time over there, and that's fine. Kyle Schwarber's a guy that hits for no average, but he's got some, good pop in the bat, good power. Bryce Harper made a rapid recovery from Tommy John, and he's been pretty amazing. Nick Castellanos has been pretty good. I've liked Brandon Marshall a lot from my standpoint as well. And then you got the 1-2 punch of Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. Those guys are good as well. And but they haven't been pitching to their best, I think. Congratulations to Craig Kimbrell getting his 400th career save out of the pen this year. That was recently. But outside of that, I mean, this team doesn't have a lot going for them, so that's why they're down here at 23. Another disappointing team at 22, I'm going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals. This team is another team that just hasn't played to their potential. And now I think there is a good team somewhere in this Cardinals team. I think they have guys that can, perform better and be better. I think the rotation has the potential to be good, but hasn't really shown it. You have guys like Jack Flaherty that have just been inconsistent. Miles Michaelis, I guess, is looking better of late. Jordan Montgomery's kind of leading the rotation, but to be honest, that's not really a guy that should be leading a rotation. So a little bit of skepticism there. This is the farewell tour for Adam Wainwright, so that is a concern. They're kind of trying to get a rotation for the future going here. You already have a guy like Matthew Liberatore that's at the major league level and trying to work out the kinks up here. And Gordon Graceffo and Tin Kent's waiting in the wings, who have some electric stuff in the minors. So we'll see where this goes for the Cardinals and the pitching staff. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you have Wilson Contreras, who there's a whole weird thing going on with him, and kind of people were blaming him for the Cardinals' downplay and in professionalism, I guess. That's not the right word, but just downplaying expectations. When it's not exactly his fault, I don't think. Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado might be the best corner infield guys in Major League Baseball. Paul Goldschmidt's been really solid. Nolan Arenado, I think, has been better as of late. You have some guys that can fill in up the middle. Nolan Gorman's been fantastic. Paul DeYoung has somehow figured out how to hit. So you can't deny that these guys can hit, but you can deny that the pitching could be a little suspect at times. So that's what's kind of been weighing them down. I think the Cardinals have a good future, and they have a good team right now. Also, a guy to keep an eye out for, Jordan Walker, who just got recalled from the minors. Hopefully he can, be the best player that he can be because he's a stud. But, this Cardinals team kind of iffy right now. Number 21, the Cleveland Guardians. Yeah, Cleveland Guardians are not good. Now, I will say, this past Sunday, which was, I think, about a week ago, the Guardians scored 12 runs against the Orioles, but, one, we had a bullpen day. So, that's my excuse. That was not a good idea. And I think that's partially why we lost that game. But this Guardians team can't score. They really can't. They don't have a lot of competent hitters right now. They have young guys that they're trying to, get in there and get time, but they're not really performing right now. You have a guy like Jose Ramirez who can lead an offense. He can lead the charge, which, he's kind of doing right now. I mean, he has been OPSing 800, and you can't deny that, but he can't be doing all the work. And, Andres Jimenez, Amed Rosario have been a little bit disappointing up the middle, I would say. Those guys haven't been playing that well. Stephen Kwan hitting for the average, but again, not a guy that's supposed to carry your offense like that. It's just been a bit lackluster from this Guardians team. They're obviously going to pitch, and they have a lot of guys that can pitch and be good. But at the same time, this offense can barely scrape by any runs across the plate. So we'll see where that takes them in their journey to maybe some relevance in the AL Central, which is a bad division right now. But that's why I have them at number 21. Number 20, I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers. I think the Detroit Tigers have come on a little bit better as of late. I still don't think this team is very good, and that's why I'm kind of holding out on them getting a little bit higher in my rankings. But, this team is still a fine team. Spencer Torkelson, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with him. I mean, former number 1 overall pick, but hasn't really lived up to the hype just yet. I think maybe it could kind of be like a Jared Kelenic type scenario where he figures it out late and gets it going then. Javi Baez, I guess Javi Baez has been fine. I mean, he's been okay. In reality, he's been bad. But, that was just, I feel bad. Bad contract. And, another farewell tour in Miguel Cabrera. Gil Baduz, I think, has been solid. I think he's been a solid little player for this White Sox team, and that's been nice. Silver Spring native, shout out. But there's just not a lot going for this team. Michael Lorenzen's really the only recognizable name, I would say. when it comes to the pitching rotation, and he's been fine. I mean, he's been doing his thing, but it's just not a very good team overall. A little bit stronger because they've been playing a little bit better as of late, but still not very good. And shout out Zach McKinstry. My bad. He's been solid this year. Number 19, Padres. Yeah, the San Diego Padres have been this bad, and I think this is concerning. I think this is not a good thing for them. That they haven't been good. They haven't been playing that well overall. I've not been impressed. I don't think really anyone's been impressed with this team. I mean, the roster's insane. Fernando Tatis, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Juan Soto. But I don't know. Something's just not clicking for them. I don't quite know what it is, and that's yet to be seen. But I don't know, man. This Padres team, something's up, and it's just weird. That's what it is. It's weird. And Josh Hader's still been lights out. Joe Musgrove's been good, and Blake Snell and Yu Darvish and whatever. Michael Wacha's been good. Have gotten zero production out of the catcher position, which is interesting. And they got, Rougned Odor, former Oriole, on the team. So just want to shout him out, even though he wasn't very good. Jake Cronenworth's a good little player, but, this team's just, I don't know. Something's not clicking. Number 18, Giants. Giants, currently the Orioles are in San Francisco, so that, for me, I get to watch a little bit of Giants, even though those games are so late, and that's not going to help me. So, that is what it is. This Giants team is another team I think that has some pieces, and they haven't been as bad as the Padres, I don't think. They've just been kind of middling along all this year. They've gotten some good performances out of Alex Cobb and Anthony DeSclafani and Sean Manaea. And you got the Roger twins, or I don't know if they're twins, but you got the Rogers brothers, Taylor and Tyler Rogers. I think they are twins. In the pen, as well as Camilo Doval, who just got reliever of the month from MLB, and Logan Webb. Logan Webb is a very good pitcher as well, so they have some decent pitchers, but the offense hasn't really able to piece it all together. They're still missing the presence of Buster Posey. Obviously, they have had a guy like Patrick Bailey, who's looked good, and Blake Sable trying to cement himself in the big leagues as a Rule 5 pick. We'll see how that goes for him. He's been fine. I think he's been good myself. Lamont Wade, is Baltimore native, want to shout that out. And he just had that splash hit, the 100th splash hit into McCovey Cove last night. First pitch of the game, which hurt to watch, but it is what it is. Mike Yastrzemski and Marco Conforto been holding it down in the outfield pretty decent. Marco Conforto's having a better year than I think people are giving him credit for. Casey Schmidt has been good. Brandon Crawford has been trash. J.D. Davis has been amazing. But they've just kind of been doing what they're supposed to. They're playing mid-tier baseball for a mid-tier team, and yeah, that's just kind of their story. They're a mid-team playing mid-baseball. I think this is what everyone expected. Everyone expected them to be middle of the pack, and that's exactly what they have been. So, good job, Giants. You've pretty much been the only team that's spot on this year in terms of performance out of a team. Number 17, LA Angels. LA Angels have been fine. I mean, the Angels are just like, we know about Mike Trout, we know about Shohei Ohtani. That's the 1-2 punch of baseball right now in terms of talent and the best players. But the pitching's just not been good. Tyler Anderson hasn't performed well. Tucker Davidson's not a guy that hasn't performed well. They recently DFA'd Ryan Tepera, who I thought was a good move at the time, but not good. Zach Neto made a quick rise to the majors. A year ago, he's playing college ball, which is pretty crazy to think about in the modern game. I mean, and Mickey Moniak's look good, I would say. former number 1 overall pick in the draft. He's making himself look not like a bust more and more. He's been performed well in the small sample. This team's just been fine. This team's just been underwhelming. Another team that's just kind of doing what everyone expected them to be that underperforming team and, be disappointments. Even though they have Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. So, but, it is what it is. The Angels probably will never be good. 16, Pirates. This is an interesting team to address because in the first month of baseball, they were one of the best. But right now, they're just not really playing that well. They haven't really been that good. They haven't been. They just haven't been up to the standard that they once were during the season. You have a guy like Mitch Keller that's crushing it. Roansy Contreras has a really good young arm. David Bednar locking it down out of the pen. But, yeah, really, it's just who cares? I mean, got some fun names on the team. You got Andrew McCutchen, who's making a resurgence around the league. Nice to see him back to form. Could win Comeback Player of the Year. Brian Reynolds has been good, another Baltimore native, so shout out to that. They had their guy O'Neal Cruz get hurt, and he's out for a couple of months, which doesn't help them. But outside of that, I mean, this Pirates team kind of faked us out. They kind of deked us out. I would chalk it up to pretenders. I mean, this team just hasn't really been that great since that hot start. They've kind of fizzled out. So, that's what I got on the Pirates. 15, Mariners. 15, the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners, another team that's just kind of not been good. Now, they have been staying afloat in the ways they can. But at the same time, also hasn't been great. I mean, got some good pitchers. I mean, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, Luis Castillo at the helm. Matt Brash is a pretty good arm. Brian Wu just called up, who is a really good young arm. The Mariners pitching staff has some youth to it, and that's nice. Ty France is a guy that's been good. Jose Caballero has kind of come out of nowhere to provide some solid competence at the second base position. Jared Kelenic has made a resurgence, looking like the prospect that he once was. Julio Rodriguez is one of the best young talents in the game, and Teoscar Hernandez I thought was a great trade, even though not playing as well as maybe people thought he would. This Mariners team is fine. I mean, I think they're going to be better moving forward, but we'll see how that goes for them. 14, Red Sox. Red Sox, they were in a pretty decent stretch at one point, but overall, I'm not really a believer in this team. I'm not really buying in to what this team is doing. So that's kind of my problem. The pitching, I think, is a hot mess. Kenley Jansen, kind of really the only notable guy, I would say. And I would say Brian Bales, a young electric arm that is going to be good for the future. But outside of that, I mean, not really anything to get excited about on this pitching side, I guess, aside from Garrett Whitlock. So shout out to him, who's a pretty good Rule 5 selection. But he's also hasn't been good this year. And then the hitters. I mean, this lineup is good enough. Headlined by Rafael Devers, got his extension when no one thought he would get an extension. So that is interesting. You have a guy like Emmanuel Valdez, who's been able to fill in at second base. You have Kike Hernandez, which who knows why he's playing shortstop, and he hasn't even been playing that well. Masataka Yoshida's been killing it out in the outfield, so is Jarren Duran and Alex Verdugo. Could be one of the best outfields right now in Major League Baseball. Not going to deny that. But this team as a whole can't really get their act together. Like I said, outfield strong, and you're going to have a guy like Adam Duvall coming back who's going to probably be your DH over Justin Turner, which, thank the Lord for that. I mean, I guess Justin Turner's been good this year, but Adam Duvall, the way he was swinging it before the injury, you hope can add that pop and impact to your lineup. Red Sox, man, it's just not very good. Not a very good team. Even though they played better than I think they've shown. So that is why they're up here. You do have to owe them some credit there. Number 13, New York Mets. Another team that, I think probably people thought was one of the best teams in baseball entering this year, and they haven't really been that. Another roster that's just kind of ridiculous in how much talent they have. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander is the 1-2 punch. I mean, that is insanity right there. And then Edwin Diaz out of the pen is amazing, but he's also hurt for this year. Will not pitch at all. Pete Alonso's been crushing baseballs over at first. Jeff McNeil is a great hitter for average. Brett Beatty, a nice young player for this Mets team that needs a little bit of youth. He was off to a hot start, kind of cooled off, but that is what it is. Francisco Lindor, in my opinion, the best shortstop in baseball, I guess outside of Trey Turner, but I would say Lindor is probably one of the most complete players at shortstop. So that's just my take. Mark Vientos, another guy, a young guy for the Mets. Him and Brett Beatty are kind of trying to be the future infielders of this Mets team. And then, Mark Canha, a bit of a boring player, but he's still productive out in the outfield. Brandon Nimmo, great center fielder, one of the more underrated players in the game. And Starling Marte, another decent player, even though he's kind of on the older side. And Daniel Vogelbach, who's a guy that can crush some righties, but useless otherwise. And he's chubby, so he can't really run. This Mets team, I think, has been better of late as well, but, we'll see how they do moving forward. Number 12, I'm kind of a high guy on the Marlins, but I'm going to go with them. I think it is the Miami Marlins. I don't know. I've always been a Marlins fan. Like, I love the team, I love the jerseys, love the vibes, and, they're playing decent ball, I'm not going to lie. Now, the offense is a little weak, can't deny that, but Luis Arraez has just been crazy hot. I mean, dude's at a 900 OPS with 1 home run. Dude just knows how to hit for average like crazy. You got a guy like John Bird who can steal some bases. Joey Wendell's a league average left-handed bat. Even though he hasn't really shown it this year, I guess. Brian De La Cruz, a great little outfielder out there in Miami. Jesus Sanchez was a good prospect at one point, and he's performed well at the big league level. Jazz Chisholm in the outfield. I mean, granted, he hasn't looked good in the outfield, but it is what it is. He's still got that elite bat. The Marlins, the infield is a lot of second basemen, I think, and that's kind of the problem. Gene Segura has been horrible this year as well. Just would like to note that. I thought it was a good pickup for them, but it hasn't really paid off in any sort of way. Definitely interesting roster construction, but you can't deny the pitchers. Sandy Alcantara has been great. Edward Cabrera has been great. Jesus Luzardo has been great. And, they picked up a guy like Johnny Cueto, but Johnny Cueto's been hurt. And you have to give them credit for making sure that this rotation has stayed afloat with the young guns. And you got to appreciate that. I think pitching is always going to be good. The Marlins are really good at getting pitchers. But the hitting's always going to be a little sketch with them. So that's just my take, though. But I think overall, this team has been, good enough for me to put them near the top 10. I don't know. I could be a little crazy for that, but it's my take. I'm going to stand by it, and I think they've been good enough. Number 11, Blue Jays. Blue Jays have been good. I think that's just kind of it. They've had some guys underperform, like Alek Manoah. You've seen some struggles at him, but they've gotten some good production out of the back end of the rotation. Chris Bassett's a guy that's doing really well for them. He was a guy who wanted on the Orioles, and we didn't really get anyone besides Kyle Gibson and Cole Irvin in a trade. I think Yusei Kikuchi's been good. Nate Pearson's looking great out of the pen. Kind of looking like the downside of the top prospect he once was. Alejandro Kirk, elite at hitting, so that's definitely pretty awesome. They have guys that are good, but they also have guys that are a bit incompetent, which is a bit of a problem. Bo Bichette's been crushing the baseball at the shortstop position. Matt Chapman's been great at third. Vladdy Jr.'s been great at first, but second base is kind of a bit of a hole right now for them. I expect them to address that at the trade deadline if anyone's available. Dalton Varsho's been a guy that's underperformed. Kevin Kiermaier's been a guy that's overperformed, along with the great defense. George Springer's is just a very solid right fielder. And Brandon Belt has brought some left-handed power to the lineup, as well as Dalton Varsho and Kevin Kiermaier. In the offseason, I would kind of say that they addressed the need of left-handed bats because they have a lot of righties. But yeah, I mean, this team's been fine. Another team that I think people were higher on, but they haven't really been the team that people were hoping. Kevin Gausman's been great too, and of course, like we get pitchers, we draft them, and then like they go elsewhere, and they become the pitchers that we needed them to be when they were with the Orioles. So that's great. That's amazing. We can't develop pitchers. So yeah. Number 10, Yankees. I mean, Aaron Judge looks like he could replicate his season from last year. Don't think it's going to happen because that's just really a 1 in a million type thing. So, but this Yankees team, it's just kind of been all over the place. I mean, they've been hot, they've been cold, they've been pretty streaky overall. Nestor Cortez has been good. Garrett Cole's been a Cy Young candidate. Domingo Germán's been fine, and they've been kind of figuring some things out. Michael King's been good out of the pen. Catcher position, not great. Infield, solid enough. Anthony Volpe's been the everyday guy there. I don't know why Josh Donaldson's still on the roster. Gleyber Torres and Anthony Rizzo been pretty consistent overall this year. Outfield's been fine. I mean, Harrison Bader is a fan favorite out there in New York. IKF has somehow moved to the outfield. They're trying to figure out anything they can. Really, the one mainstay has been Aaron Judge, who's just one of the best players in the game. But outside of that, they kind of been filtering through some guys. So we'll see how that works out in the long run. 9, I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers. I think the Milwaukee Brewers have been pretty good. You know, they have a pretty commanding lead in the Central, in my opinion. Maybe someone could flag them down, but at the same time, I don't think someone could flag them down. They have some good enough guys. But Rowdy Tellez, great power hitter. Owen Miller was hot this past month. Brian Anderson was a nice little pickup for them after being a guy that was non-tendered. They have a really good young outfield and Garrett Mitchell and Joey Weimer. But at the same time, those guys are hurt, and that's hurting the Brewers. Christian Yelich maybe comes back to form. I mean, he's been good recently, so I'm not going to count him out. So it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. Willie Adames has been great at shortstop for them. Bryce Terang, a young infielder for the Brewers, just kind of needs to get his feet wet, trying to figure it out over at second, which isn't his natural position, I will warn you. But got off to a good start in the first month and then just kind of fizzled out. William Contreras, I loved that they got him in the Sean Murphy deal from the Braves, which made it a 3-team deal. That was an awesome pickup, and he's been good enough for them. So that was a great pickup as well. Twins coming in at number 8. I think the Twins have been good. They figured something out with their pitchers. Drew Ryan, Pablo Lopez, and Sonny Gray have been great. Honestly, the Pablo Lopez trade might be one of the most win-win trades I've ever seen as a baseball analyst. The Marlins got what they needed out of Luis Arraez. They got that impact bat in the lineup. And the Twins got Pablo Lopez. They got that frontline guy in their rotation. So pretty impressive how both these teams have been able to get the production that they wanted out of the players. So props to these teams for making that trade. They got some good young guys coming up in the wings. Royce Lewis, a guy I love seeing him getting on the right track. Jose Miranda's had some struggles. He's currently down in AAA, I believe. Joey Gallo's returned to form, I think, for the Twins. Just kind of needed a more quiet environment than Los Angeles or New York. Carlos Correa has been underperforming this year. They've been getting some production out of some scrappier players and stuff like that. I also like the addition of Michael A. Taylor this offseason because that allows you to move Buxton to DH, and then, Michael A. Taylor is able to still give you that premier defense in center field. That's just kind of a sacrifice the Twins have had to make for Byron Buxton. Dude can flat out rake, but he always gets hurt. If you limit the movement on his body, that is amazing. This Twins team has been good. They've kind of been commanding this division in the first half in a trash division. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna say the Twins have been bad. They've been solid. Astros coming in at number 7. Yeah, we're on 7. Astros have been fine. I don't think they've quite lived up to the expectations, but still been one of the best teams in the game. Close to top 5. The catcher position is just all over the place, in my opinion. I mean, you never know what you're going to get out of the Astros catcher in terms of production. Yanier Diaz has kind of gotten a look. They've had Martin Maldonado for forever and a day. Jose Abreu, that contract is not looking good right now, so that is a problem. Only just hit 1 home run so far. Outfield, just kind of solid pieces out there. Kyle Tucker is really the mainstay in right field, but Chas McCormick, Jake Myers kind of trying to pick up some scraps. Corey Julks has been out there as well. Jordan Alvarez is taking some reps in the outfield. Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena is a great infield. Crazy how the Astros were able to let Carlos Correa go and pretty much have his replacement right there in front of him. So that you got to give him credit to that. Hunter Brown is a phenomenal rookie right now for the Astros, looking like a Rookie of the Year candidate as a pitcher. The bullpen is always solid for them in terms of production. Framber Valdez, Christian Javier have been strong on the rotation side, and Ryan Presley's been locking down games. So that has been impressive. The Astros just know how to operate, and they know how to operate at a high level, and they still remain one of the best teams in the game. Number 6, Atlanta Braves. They've had some injuries, so that's kind of the problem. So, yeah, they've just had some guys get hurt, like Max Fried, who was performing really well. But they've still been able to do their thing. Sean Murphy, Travis d'Arnaud is one of the best catching duos you may ever see. Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson, and Orlando Arcia have been great in the infield. Ozzie Albies is kind of an average to above average second baseman. He's a bit overrated in my opinion. He's just good. I don't think he's really this megastar, but he's still a fun little player, and he's still able to produce. Eddie Rosario in the outfield, Mike Harris, Ron Acuna has just been unbelievable. They have some guys that could produce at a very good level, and that's why they're coming in at number 6 for me. Number 5, top 5, Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona Diamondbacks have ascended to what's it called? They've reascended to relevance. So I have been impressed with that. Corbin Carroll's been really carrying them, which has been amazing. I was hoping Gunnar Henderson would do the same for my Orioles, but that hasn't really worked out. But we're going to talk about that in a second. The Diamondbacks have been great. There's no denying that. Gabriel Moreno looks amazing as their everyday catcher. Never going to really do anything spectacular, I would say, but he's going to produce at a very, very good level, without a doubt. He just needs to get used to being the everyday catcher, I would say. Geraldo Perdomo's been really good in that infield. Christian Walker just keeps hitting tanks. Tel Marte, we know how good he is. They got some pieces here and there with Jake McCarthy and players like that. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has been amazing as well. It's kind of been compounded. The Dalton Varsho trade kind of got compounded for the Jays because Gurriel and Moreno are doing what they should be doing for the Diamondbacks, and Varsho hasn't really been doing it for the Blue Jays. I think this Diamondbacks team has some good depth, has some good players, and the future is now for them. So if you're a Diamondbacks listening to this, congratulations, you have become one of the best teams in the game. You love to see it. Kind of the same ascend to relevance again as the Orioles. And number 4, Baltimore Orioles. I've loved watching the Baltimore Orioles so far this year. we've had a lot of guys step up. Our pitching staff has been great. I think the starters have kind of needed to find some consistency, but they've been figuring it out as of late. The bullpen's been great, I would say, been super strong. I mean, I can name everybody on this pitching staff because we have a lot of great guys. Two guys I really want to highlight, though, Yennier Cano, Felix Bautista, possibly the best setup closer duo you may see in the game right now. Kyle Bradish, a guy I want to shout out on the rotation. Love his future as well. Dean Kramer's is just a horse. He's been our dog in the rotation. Kyle Gibson's been leading us on with the veteran presence. We've gotten some good production out of that. Grayson Rodriguez, I think, will figure it out at some point for us. You know, he obviously had some bad starts. Kind of has to learn how to command his pitches a little bit and get his pitches where he needs to, not hanging in the zone. Adley Rutschman has just been Adley Rutschman. I mean, I'm in love with him. I mean, he's our Lord and Savior. Jesus Christ. Ryan Mountcastle been hitting for some power, one of the most unlucky hitters in the game. Adam Frazier been solid at second. Gunnar Henderson hasn't really been as good as expected at third, but he's still doing it at a pretty good clip. I mean, he's batting .203, but he still has a 716 OPS, so that's great. Austin Hayes has been great in the outfield. Love the work he's doing and putting in. Cedric Mullins just went down with an injury, which is a shame because he was he's our anchor in the lineup, I would say. Right, Anthony Santander has been phenomenal. He had a great May, and our depth is there too. I mean, Aaron Hicks has looked pretty good in the minuscule sample. Ryan McKenna's been solid off the bench. Taryn Fowler's been solid off the bench. You know, Jorge Mateo and Ramon Arias doing what they can here and there, although Jorge Mateo hasn't been as good. James McCann's been a fine backup guy. Ryan O'Hearn's been solid, I would say, as the backup first baseman. This Orioles team is good, guys. That's all I'm saying. You know, first month we were all saying like, we're gonna hold out and see if this is a fluke. I don't think this is a fluke. So that's just me. I love the Orioles. Number 3, Rangers. Rangers have been great. You can't deny that. They have been a super strong team. Overall, they had a really good month, and yeah, I can't deny that I haven't been impressed with them. This team is just good. John Gray is good. Nathan Eovaldi was just on fire for them this month. You know, Jacob deGrom is on this team now, which is kind of crazy to think about. Jonah Heim's doing great behind the dish. Nathaniel Lowe is great over at first base. Marcus Simeon's been a great second baseman. Josh Young could be a Rookie of the Year candidate. Corey Seager's been amazing. You know, this team has all the makings for a superstar. Adolis Garcia has been great as well. I don't know. Everything about this team is just working right now. They know what they're doing, and I'm not going to deny them of their success. So I had to put them in the head of the Orioles. That's just how good they've been. Number 2 is the Dodgers. I honestly thought the Dodgers were going to be that number 1 team in that division. I thought the Padres were going to finish second, and the Dodgers were going to finish first. So that's what I got from my standpoint. This team's been great. James Outman been fantastic. Mookie Betts has been fantastic. Will Smith has been great. Mind the dish, Freddie Freeman tearing it up. They're getting good production out of Miguel Vargas. Max Muncy's been a boss as well. This Dodgers team they know how to operate. They're just like the Astros. Astros and Dodgers, 2 of the most competent teams and 2 of the most well-organized teams in the game. So, yeah. And last but not least, Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay Rays have just been unbelievable. They obviously went on that 13-0 stretch. Got to give credit to guys like Yandy Diaz, who's been great over at first. Wander Franco's been that guy at shortstop. They've had some great arms. You know, Taj Bradley's looking like a really solid arm at the big league level. There's so many guys that you could highlight here because everyone's just chipping in. Sadly, I don't have time to do that. But this Rays team has just been unbelievable. Josh Lowe as well. Like, oh my gosh. Josh Lowe has been phenomenal. Phenomenal for them. So, this Rays team is getting the most out of everybody, and that is what's led them to their success. Even like Randy Rosarena. Randy Rosarena has been that dude. He's taken his step forward. So, I mean, you could really look top to bottom on this Rays roster and say that they've been phenomenal. Or all of them have been great. I can't do that right now, but they are still the best team in the game, and they have been since the start, since day one. And that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Try and tune in next week if I get an episode out. Appreciate you tuning in. Merchandise, everything will be in the description, as always. So if you want to check that out, go do so, please. And, yeah, we'll see you next time.